Hey, welcome back. This is Cavallo, the dating advice guru, and today we've got more secrets to unlock his heart. We're going to talk about, is it okay to date a male coworker? You work beside some people for like 8 hours or more per day, and for some people that's more time than they spend with their family or even their significant other, especially if you're just dating somebody. So think about it, for like over 2,000 hours a year that you're working, that's like 500 dates. Of course there's the potential to fall for a coworker eventually, or at least form a tiny bit of a crush. But is it okay? Is it acceptable to even date somebody that you met at work? Now you might not know this, but the dirty, scandalous truth about me is that I dated one of my students when I was teaching karate. Now she wasn't a coworker, but it had the same level of professionalism about it. Should I? Shouldn't I? And eventually the heart won over the head, and the rest is history. Jen won my heart, and we're married with 2 fantastic kids. Now I look back on that and think it was worth it, but there are plenty of times I've dated coworkers where the relationship didn't work out. So let's explore whether or not you should. Heads up, coworker dating tip number 1, never ever date your supervisor or subordinate. This is just bad, bad, bad to the 10th degree. If it's a romance you want to pursue, you're going to need to arrange to either leave that organization or get transferred to a different department. The reasons are fairly obvious and self-evident. There's a power play at hand there, and you've got to watch out for that. Watch out. Coworker dating tip number 2, know your company's policy. See, some companies strictly forbid relationships between coworkers. They know what happens and the kind of drama that can ensue. Some only have a policy against dating somebody in the organization that is a direct supervisor or subordinate, but some companies don't hire married couples, period. Some companies just don't care at all, as long as it doesn't interfere with getting the job done. They trust you to be an adult and not let your emotional situation interfere at work. Remember, you always got to consider, what would you do if you two broke up? How would you handle it? How would he handle it? Red alert, coworker dating tip number 3, what if it doesn't work out? What will you do if you break up? You got to think about this in advance. There are 2 critical questions you have to answer before you jump in with both feet. How will you handle it, and how will he handle it if you guys break up? You have to know this going in, because the odds are that it probably won't work out. And it's the same for any relationship. We're always playing the odds. All relationships end, except for the one you either get married or just stay with until you die. And that's the same for any relationship. It's not pessimism, it's reality. If you've been around for any period of time, you'll see that most relationships don't succeed. They don't necessarily fail either. We always learn something and walk away being a better person. So remember, if he's a jerk, he could trash your reputation. If you're a jerk, you could face social and professional ramifications of that. So know what you're going to do in advance. Let me leave you with a couple rules to follow. So if you do decide to date a coworker, you'll know how best to keep your boundaries. If you're going to date your coworker, rule number 1 is, when you're at work, work is first. Oh yeah, I know, flirting is fun. It's downright electric when you're on the job, because you're toying with a secret crush and the energy is kind of thrilling. I think that's part of the reason people enjoy workplace romances. It's kind of taboo. It's almost forbidden. You want to avoid any weirdness, so keep the eye batting and the kissy faces to a minimum. Be professional about this, okay? Date your coworker, rule number 2, keep it private at first. Don't broadcast your romantic entanglement until much later, when you're sure it's on stable footing at least. Even if it's okay with management that you have a fling. But you should tell the people who should know up the food chain as soon as this thing looks serious, okay? Because this will offset a lot of the possible damage that could happen if it came out later. Date your coworker, rule number 3 is keep the communication open. This is just a good strategy for all relationships, but make it more of a focus with a workplace romance. You should always be talking with him about what's going on with who as it relates to you and him at work. If there's any weirdness at all, get it out in the open fast. There's already a certain level of covert secrecy that you're trying to keep in your relationship, so you got to compensate in the other direction. Make sure you're talking and communicating. There's a lot of potential in either direction for people to get together in the workplace. Some people use it as their sole method of meeting people. Other people totally stay away from it because they don't want the drama and the weirdness. You've got to make that decision for yourself, but it is a viable way to date somebody. Now you also got to realize that every guy has a specific style of connecting. And if you want to make this work, if you really do want to give it the highest chances for working, you got to know about what his connection style is. If you do a little bit of homework, you're going to know immediately what any man's style is. So knowing how he connects with you is a gold mine when it comes to making things work flawlessly between you. Well, most of the time anyways. So I put together a quick video. That's right. Go down there. Go check that out. Go to datingadviceguru.com/connection code, where I talk about the specific communication styles and connection styles that men have. And you can also get my special presentation on the 7 fatal mistakes women make that send men running. So go on over there, go down to datingadviceguru.com/connection code. And of course, as always, like this video, and I'll be seeing you next time. This is Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Live and love with passion.